I call the honourable member for Fitzgibbon.
For Hunter, thank you, Madam.
Oh, Hunter, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. That's I'm not offended by the nature of your call, but I rise to support the comments of the Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition, and now everyone who will make a contribution to this important reflection on the natural disasters we've suffered in this country in recent months. In particular, I want to focus on my own region, the Hunter, but before I do so, I do want to acknowledge the other unfortunate, indeed tragic events reflected on by the leaders, and they are, of course, the fires in Western Australia, particularly in Yarloop, where we had what I would describe almost as a Hollywood-style event, where a whole town was, effectively wiped off the map. It's just so tragic. It's very hard to believe, and unless you were part of that event, I don't think any of us could possibly hope to fully understand the impact on that community. The fires around the Great Ocean Road region, floods in the Northern Territory, all tragic events at arguably the worst time of the year when people are seeking a break and hoping to have a holiday. But wherever the event, Madam Deputy Speaker, there is one constant, and that is the work, the skill, the courage and dedication of our emergency services personnel, both paid, but more particularly in many senses, the unpaid, those who volunteer, those who give up their time. They are simply amazing, leaving their families, often on Christmas Day, more often than not during a period when they're trying to take a holiday from their work. They do that to risk their lives in the cold or the heat in an attempt to assist others who are in trouble. And I don't think any of us can speak too highly of those who are doing that important and dangerous work. Indeed, I pay particular tribute to Paul Sanderson, who was a volunteer firefighter from my own electorate, who gave his life just in November last year doing that, fighting a fire in searing heat, and at 48 years of age suffered a fatal heart attack. It's a sad and tragic loss, and I would suspect almost every member of this place would have a similar story, given the sheer number of volunteers we have out there on a regular basis. In my own region, the storms, the cyclonic event we suffered over the course of the Christmas period came on the back very soon after the April storm, the devastating April floods and storms of last year. I've heard anecdotes of people who are only just finally coming around to replacing the carpet in their home or in their small business, only to have it ruined again by the storms which took place over the break. So this is particularly devastating for those people. Of course, the April storms took the lives of 3 people, not in my electorate, but all of them, but some in the electorate of the member for Paterson, and one certainly in my own electorate. The community of Gillieston Heights, in my electorate, for example, was cut off from the rest of the community for days on end, and I pay tribute both to the residents of Gillieston Heights and all those who came to their assistance, volunteered their fishing boats, etc., to get food and supplies onto what the stoic residents came to call Gillieston Island rather than Gillieston Heights, which was both funny and reflected the courage of the community. I say in this contribution that it's time for state government to do something about the access to Gillieston Heights. I went to school in Maitland, travelling from my hometown Cessnock, and the school bus was regularly cut off at Testus Hollow, the roadway through just before Gillieston Heights. We were unable to get to school. I'm now 54 years of age, so that was a little while ago, Madam Deputy Speaker, and still,
A couple of years ago.
In heavy rains and flood, the access to Gillieston Heights is still being blocked by flood. And, we're in the 21st century, and it's time state government became very serious about making sure that that is not the case, and that Gillieston Heights, I almost said Gillieston Island again, is not stranded, or the residents of Gillieston Heights are not stranded in the way they were during the April storms. And again, not landlocked this time because it was only blocked off on one side on this time, but in April. They should never have to experience that again in this modern world where we have all the wit in the world. We should be able to address that problem, and money should not be a barrier to such an important project. It doesn't have to be the lifting of the road. There might be other solutions, a different route for the road. I've heard some alternatives, but whatever it is, it should be done, and it should be done quickly. And indeed, all three levels of government should be working together to make sure that is the case. I just want to quickly touch on an area called South Cessnock in my hometown. I'm going to go back to my youth again. I remember when I was on Cessnock City Council wading through water waist deep in South Cessnock, helping local residents sandbag to protect their homes from the flood. Well, South Cessnock's still flooding, Madam Deputy Speaker, in heavy rains and floods. I'm not too critical of the council. I know it has a strategy, a plan. It's working on the issue, but I think South Cessnock residents, many of whom were there all those years ago and well before when I was wading through the water, deserve to have that problem addressed. They've had water through their homes on too many occasions, and again, surely in the 21st century, we have both the finances and the wit to do something about that problem. These events, Madam Speaker, are a reminder that we can't control the weather, we can't control Mother Nature, that Mother Nature is far more powerful than any technology we have, including nuclear capacity. When the volcano goes off, or the winds come, or the high seas come, the tsunami wipes an island continent out, there is nothing human beings can do. And we need to take care of our environment. I'm never been described as a rabid environmentalist. I prefer to describe myself as a conservationist and a person who believes we do have to take more care of our environment. And if there is any suggestion that the endeavours of the humankind are causing our weather patterns to become more erratic and more or less predictable, we should be doing something about it, taking any measure as a precautionary principle to make sure that we are, as best we can, as a human race, protecting ourselves. Because again, when Mother Nature speaks, we do not have the answers. We can go out and help as best we can and protect ourselves as best we can, but we cannot protect ourselves from the most erratic weather events. So we should be taking a public policy approach that reassures people that as best we can, we're making sure that the activities of the human race aren't making those events more likely. So again, I support the Prime Minister and the Opposition Leader. I'm pleased they put this motion forward. It's important to those who've been affected by weather events, and it's certainly, from my perspective, a very, very important opportunity to pay tribute to all those who have, in the recent events, and those who will before them, and no doubt will do so in the future, given up their time, risked their lives to help others in need.
Thank you, Member